The only thing I remember about that night and that goal was seeing the goal go in and immediately ending up at the bottom of a 15-person dog pile. I mean, I had my face down on the floor of a pub on a Friday evening about 10 o'clock and covered by like literally a metric ton worth of people. And I didn't care at all about the germs or about any of that stuff.
You were happy.
Oh my God, it was the greatest. I just, how I didn't end up with some sort of infection that night was, would have made COVID look like a joke. But the moment was incredible. I honestly think there was a little too much drink for me to have like a sharp memory of what had happened after that, how we celebrated. The one thing I can tell you I do regret and will always regret is not heading straight up to Highbury. It didn't occur to us. Again, this was all brand new. We didn't immediately think flock to the stadium. And I probably would have gotten in a heck of a lot of trouble my mom, because I think I had a curfew back at that time. I was 16 years old. I think I had to be home by 11 normally, but 11:30 that night. So
right.
But one of the greatest things about Lee and Amy Lawrence putting together that movie is Fever Pitch was great. I enjoyed watching Fever Pitch, made my kids watch it over and over and over again. But when that movie came out that was just literally about that game and that season, it just was such a great watch. And I mean, I get tingly every single time I watch it now. I can watch it 10 times in a row and I'm still like really concerned that Dixon's going to kick the ball out the side, instead of finding Smith perfectly and having him tell us what he was thinking at the time and knowing we've talked to Dixon, Smith and Thomas now, and it just makes it so much more special to watch that and just know kind of what was in the mind of the people doing that. But my favorite parts of that whole play though come down to Barnes and who was it?
Richardson.
Was it Aldridge? No, Aldridge.
Oh yeah, John Aldridge. Yeah.
Almost puts this. I mean, and this was something I never saw it until it was explained to me.
Yeah.
I think Lee Dixon said, Aldridge put his arm up like he was just going to bat the ball down, take a red card, and kill the game off. And he pulled it back right as Lukic was getting ready to throw it. And I love watching that now. It's just you don't expect a team like that to make those kinds of mistakes.
No, I know it's what a special night. So when you watch it now, Mike, like I say, you get those feelings, don't you? They come flooding back.
Absolutely. I find myself walking around. Like, again, I can't just sit on the couch and watch it. I pop up and I'm pacing around, and it is the most incredible sporting moment. I have to put that sporting in there because my family gets mad if I say it's the most incredible moment, but most incredible sporting moment of my life before, then, or after. I mean, I've seen some local teams win championships here in the States. That's been great. Yeah. It doesn't happen often enough, but that was the one for me. I've got the picture up in my room. I've got the movies on constant play, and and of course the shirts to remind me. He's got a little bit of the George Graham in him, I think. He, like George Graham, he played for the club under a pretty good manager. I think he played under Bertie Mee.
Who George?
Did George play when was Bertie Mee still the manager? I mean, he understood the club. Wasn't necessarily the star player, but he was a very, very good player. And kind of went out and experienced and sowed his oats with other clubs and managed Millwall and came back. And in the case of Arteta, how good of an apprenticeship can you have being under Pep Guardiola? And the whole lack of experience thing. I was nervous. I mean, I'm not going to roll back the clock and say that I was supporting him to be the manager, and right after Arsene Wenger got sacked. In fact, I was thrilled when I found out that we got someone with some experience instead of going cheap and grabbing Arteta back. That worked out pretty badly, as it turned out. You never have the man after the man really step up and be another legend. I mean, we've seen it at Liverpool. It took 3 or 4 different guys to come in and try it, including Kenny Dalglish, I believe.
Yeah.
It took. United are still looking. It's very hard to replace a legend with somebody who's going to just pick up and get things back to where they need to be, and we're no different.
Great to have a chat. And listen, a lot of people don't really know the background, how we met and stuff like that. But it was actually after an Arsenal game, wasn't it, when we met?
It was after, I can tell you which game it was. It was Watford.
Watford at home.
On 11 March a couple years ago. It was the day before my birthday, and it was the day that, out of nowhere, Petr Cech actually saved a penalty. So we were all on a high already, and then in comes Kevin Campbell with Lee to the 12 pins, much to all of our delight. So it made a great day even better.